Damn, Q. Baby, you did that.
Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you at in the world. It's your man, Phil Fresh, live from Detroit with the Oh Yeah podcast. Of course, I'm with Mr. Oh Yeah, Detroit's #1 ambassador. Oh yeah.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Cino, aka Big Five. I'm on the Oh Yeah podcast with Mr. Oh Yeah, the #1 ambassador.
Yo, what up? That was 3525, Mr. Pay Attention, aka Mr. Pizza Cat. And right now, you on the Oh Yeah podcast with Mr. Oh Yeah, the #1 ambassador.
Yeah, we ain't talking about the Ambassador Bridge. We ain't going to Canada. The #1 ambassador, Mr. Oh Yeah, on the Oh Yeah podcast. Man, this is Derek Coleman, man. Peace and love.
Oh yeah, holla at your boy. Document your affairs, baby. Oh yeah. Welcome to another episode of the Oh Yeah podcast with your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah, Detroit's #1 ambassador. And today we're downtown Detroit, Paradise Valley at the Vinyl Society. Man, oh man, it's going to be another day of celebration, of truly talking about someone who has, not just from Detroit, but has given back to the city of Detroit, who continues to represent the city of Detroit. And although I say I am the #1 ambassador of the city, I may have a run for my money today. And that's okay. That's okay.
There's room for two of us.
It is room for many of us.
There's room for two of us.
Which is something I wanted to acknowledge, that over the years, we've had great folks on the podcast. Derek Coleman, Portia Powell, just individuals who continue to find ways to bring energy to the city. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that this individual has been dedicated to that for well over 30 years, born and raised, and truly groomed to be a great reflection of what the city is.
Thank you.
If you haven't heard of him, don't know about him, you just been missing in action here in the city of Detroit. Dennis Archer Jr.
My man.
Welcome to the Oh Yeah podcast.
You getting paid for this?
Sir.
You got bottles up? Are these sponsors? You should be getting paid for this.
Listen, you are triggering because these
I'm just
are
saying.
the sponsors of the Oh Yeah
Oh,
podcast.
good. I'm just making sure.
We have, candidly speaking, greeting cards. These are not your average greeting cards. Please, you know to
Detroit
go check
company?
Detroit,
Okay.
Black woman owned
All right.
greeting cards,
Good.
as well as Grander Crew Wine, who's
Okay.
also been on the podcast as well. Both of the ladies, Black-owned businesses right here in the city of Detroit.
Gotta
so we
support.
always ask that you go support, go check them out, and know that they are not just here to do business, but truly represent the city in a great way as well. So thank you. I already knew that you, by trade, it seemed like a natural-born host, so I knew this would be a great conversation
have
to
fun.
have. Oh, yes, we are.
We're gonna have
Yes,
fun.
we are. But with that being said, and I try my best not to be trendy, so to speak,
Sure.
but with doing my research on who Dennis W. Archer Jr. is, I got to ask the first question, man.
Mm-hmm.
When do you sleep?
I get about 5 hours every night.
Okay. You do a lot, man.
I get about 5 hours. I get about 5 hours every night, which is not enough.
Okay.
And then about every 3 or 4 months, I'll run my body down, and my body will shut me down and be like, you know, you need to put your ass on the sofa for about a day and a half or so and take it easy.
Yeah.
And then I go back at it.
And then you go back at it. Right. Well, I think without a shadow of a doubt, all those who see this podcast will understand the work that you have been doing and why you're only getting 5 hours worth of sleep every night, man. But before we get into, you know, the history and who you are, I feel like it's only natural that we should talk about where we at today.
Absolutely.
The Vinyl Society,
Yeah.
right here in Paradise Valley, downtown Detroit. And I was hoping that you could just take the wheel and just explain the vision of the venue and what we're sitting on, the land, the history, and what it means to us.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Huey, because when people come down here to the lounge, you know, a lot of the images that you see portrayed on the wall will spark conversation about, well, what are these and where are they from?
Yeah.
But people don't necessarily know the history of Paradise Valley and Black Bottom, and you know how this is a refreshed rendition or representation of that. So, you know, when Black folks moved up here to take automotive jobs. So automobile industry started booming, 20s, 30s, 40s. There were not enough people living in the area to work in the plants. So they went to the South. Ford initially, Motor Company went to the South and advertised, I think it was $5 a day wage to move up here and work in the plant. So we had the great migration of black folks moving from the South to Detroit to take advantage of automotive jobs. But when they came here, they could work at the plant with the white folks, but they could not buy a house in the neighborhood with the white folks. And so a collection of black folks started growing and growing in a neighborhood that became known as Black Bottom. Ironically, not because of the fact that black people were living there, but because of the fact that there was the dark, rich color of the soil was like very black. But it was like a double entendre. Likewise, we couldn't go to restaurants and barbershops, weren't made to feel welcome. So an adjacent neighborhood to Black Bottom called Paradise Valley evolved. And, you know, all of the restaurants, barbershops, dentist office, grocery store, drugstore, hotel, bars, restaurants were black owned for black folks. But much like Harlem, I mean, these Black Bottom and Paradise Valley was much like Harlem during the same period. And so it was black, but because everybody then and now loves black culture, you would have white folks that would come in, particularly for the entertainment. And so as this happened in communities around the country, as times went on, you know, black folks could move into other areas. We began to be able to move to the suburbs, and so we kind of moved at the same time. You know, urban renewal happened, and then gentrification, and so, you know, 375, which has been a big issue here, you know, was built right in the middle of Black Bottom.
That's right.
And really, the last vestige of Paradise Valley is closer over to Ford Field, where there is one of those stone monument signs. It basically says, you know, here once was Paradise Valley, with a little blurb about it. So in 2015, a lot of the properties in this area, which was theretofore called Harmony Park, were owned by either the city or an agency of the city, the Downtown Development Authority. So Mayor Duggan, to his credit, particularly amidst a time when a lot of the big developments that were happening were Illich and Gilbert and others, you know, we're in an 80% at the time black city, and he wanted to ensure that black people got opportunity. So the city in one RFP put 7 properties out for bid. And part of that RFP, you got points in your RFP score for having tenants that were here, all of which were black, be part of your business deal. You got scored on how you infused the history of Paradise Valley into the new project. And so it was very obviously geared towards African-American participation, all within the confines of the law to be able to do that. And so I was fortunate enough to bid on a couple of the buildings and won. And so we submitted our proposals in the fall of 15, the summer of 16, it was announced. There were a couple of legal proceedings that we had to get through, then COVID hit. And so we did not close on these buildings until right before COVID.
Okay.
I think we bought the buildings in cash, and then we closed on financing and right before COVID, but then we didn't do anything because it was COVID. Mm-hmm. And but now here we are.
But now.
And interesting, Huey, when we submitted our proposal in 2015, this is exactly what we said we were going to do.
Okay.
Cocktail lounge. We listed a number of examples of places that we're inspired by, you know, in New York and Paris and LA, and we're going to make this a mixture of them all, but infusing very visually the history of Paradise Valley. And then at the time, we also said we're going to open a restaurant next door that was going to be, because my mom's folks are from Jamaica, a Jamaican, Caribbean, Spanish fusion type of restaurant. And as it were, you know, once, you know, we have central kitchen and bar, we got this open, and I said to myself, I'm not interested in doing, at the time, a third place yet.
Okay.
And so Andre Blair, a good friend of mine in the Throwers, ended up loving the space, and they put Baru next door, which is a Latin fusion place, which is what we said we were going to do. So I'm very proud of the fact that what we submitted to the city 10 years ago has come to fruition.
Yeah. And it's growing, and it's showing in the area in totality. It's more than just the 2 spots, right?
Yeah, and so if you go around the rest of the neighborhood, I mean, you got Kevin Johnson, former mayor of Sacramento, an NBA All-Star, has Fixins, which is his 4th or 5th installment of that brand. It's really becoming the prototype for him now. It's his best performing brand. He spends now more time here than he does at home because he's just constantly tweaking it because he wants to expand throughout the country.
Yeah.
There's a wine bar, Vertical, that's on Center Street that had been here long before everyone else. There's an Asian fusion place, black owned, up the street and halfway underground in the building. La Casa, Cigar Bar, which Ishmael had been paying rent in that building forever. When we did this transaction, he bought his building, fixed it up, and invested in it. So, I mean, it's really coming to be exactly what we sought out at the beginning for it to be. And then lastly, separate from our own entrepreneurial endeavors, we started a nonprofit. So in 2015, a number of us said, if we win, we will agree to start a nonprofit and work together, the Paradise Valley Conservancy. So we started that. I'm chairman of the board of the Conservancy. And we had, we've raised about $5 million from the nonprofit community now. Yeah. And we made significant improvements in the park, in the plaza. We're going to activate the alley behind here, similar to what you see over at the Belt, and the alley behind the Shinola Hotel, and that should be up and running and finished in the spring or summer of next year. So we're very excited about what we've accomplished.
You should be, man. And quite frankly, as a Detroiter who is always the host with folks that are coming here from all over the country, I love bringing them down here where they can see all the great things that are going on. So I feel like it was only right to start here, just talking about where we're at.
Absolutely.
Right? And what's going on. And I like the responsibility of caring for the properties and making sure that it's always beautiful and folks can always see it. So salute to you and all you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
And I always kind of start to kind of where we at and then kind of go back, right? Because sometimes people get the assumption that things just happen, right? No, but you've had long-standing work.
We know that's not the case.
You've been putting in a lot of work here. So please let me at least acknowledge some accolades of who you are and the things that you do. We're talking about chairman and CEO of 1642 Ventures, right? We are still talking about Archer Corporate Services, ACS is real, right? President and co-founder of that. And we cannot forget about Ignition Media Group, right? And Central Kitchen, which you've already mentioned. These are all things that you've already built over the years, and that you're still standing as a presence with all of those companies.
Yeah, knock on wood, absolutely.
Come on, knock on more than wood. Right. I like that. I have to ask, you went to U of M for undergrad and law school.
I did.
How did we transition to all these other things when I thought the goal was to be a lawyer, right?
Well, I am a lawyer. I just don't practice. But
Come on now, there's a difference. My apologies.
No, it's all good. Yeah. It's interesting. So throughout all of high school and undergrad and law school, less the final year of law school, I always worked in a law firm. My father was a lawyer. I got my work permit when I was 14 down at the City County building so I could work a summer job. And I worked 4 years at his law firm. Then I worked in undergrad a couple years at General Motors legal staff and a couple years with Cornelius Pitts. And then law school in the summer, I worked with Cornelius Pitts. But right before my last semester of law school, that summer, Charles Allen, who was friendly with my parents, but he was really best friends with Porterfield Wilson. And Porterfield's son, Chris, and I were best friends. So Chris and I would be around his father. So Porterfield owned 4 or 5 car dealerships. It was one of the largest black-owned car dealers in the country. And Charles Allen was president of First Independence Bank. So both of them were very entrepreneurial. And I was always hustling. I was cutting grass, blowing snow, cleaning houses, throwing parties, and Charles said, what are you doing this summer? What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to go back and work in law. He's like, you are obviously very entrepreneurial. Don't do that. Come work for me for the summer. Mm-hmm. So Charles had a company called Graymark Realty Advisors, and I worked for him the summer, half here, half in Richmond. Had never lived away from home. I lived in the Residence Inn on Broad Street in Richmond, Virginia, for half the summer, and then worked here. And then at the end of the summer, he offered me a job to come after I graduated from law school. So I graduated from law school in December of '94. Took the bar in January, flunked it, but it was like, whatever, I'm not working in law anyway. And so I started working for him. And subsequently, 2 years later, I went back and took the bar and passed. Okay. Just so I could just close that chapter out. But yeah, that was the pivot from law, business.
To business, okay. It's funny that you bring that up because I always make sure I speak with individuals that, if nothing else, believe that they're close to you and can give me particular tidbits about who you are. And that was one of the things that somebody said that I probably wouldn't know about your internship with General Motors Law, right? What was that like?
It was fantastic, man. It was, I worked with, I reported to a guy for the 2 summers named David Collins, who gave me a lot of experience. He gave me real work to do. I mean, I can remember distinctly, I don't remember why I drove down to Ohio, but I remember he gave me a brand new Camaro and said, you got to go down to Ohio for a couple of days and go do this work. But I got a lot of great experience. And ironically, in one of the summers, my father, in his capacity with the American Bar Association, was working with the vice president and general counsel for General Motors named Harry Pierce on something called the Minority Demonstration Project, which basically was trying to get big corporations to use more black law firms and use more black lawyers in majority white law firms. And so on behalf of General Motors, I ended up working on that as well. So roundabout way, I was working on something with my father at the same time. At the
same time.
Yeah.
That had to have been pretty good. My name is Huey Sinclair Gray III.
Yeah.
I'm carrying the legacy
very
myself.
Aristocratic. Sound like you got money falling out your pocket.
Man, let me keep working for it. You know what I mean? So I can understand what it's like to be carrying on the name and the legacy of my father, who is my hero. And I'm very proud to say I have a son who's Huey the IV.
I've got a Dennis III.
There you go. What is that like? Maybe if we could touch on that. You know, no secrets here. Your father was a leader of this city.
I think it's fantastic. And I think that, you have, and I don't know what your experience has been, mine was overwhelmingly positive. I mean, because my father was in public office, from time to time, very rarely, you would get people that would have an attitude or feel some sort of way with him because of policies that with the city, and then they would meet me and be like, oh, you're his son, that sort of thing. But 99% of the time, it was a wonderful experience. It opened a lot of doors. Somebody just reposted in the past 2 weeks a picture of my father, Al Gore, Bill Clinton, and I jogging around Belle Isle. I mean, I would not have had those experiences. I would not have been able to be in certain rooms that I was allowed to be in were it not for the path that he led. So I'm very thankful. And he is still a mentor and an advisor to me today.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Again, my father and my grandfather are my heroes to this day. My grandfather has, been long gone, but my father still, he will pull my coattail about things and make sure I'm on the right path as well. So it's good to hear. A lot of days, current days, I feel that a lot of these children are kind of opposed to that level of acceptance of who your parents were and what they did. But
yeah, but I mean, yes, but the other thing that I will tell you because I'm very involved with a number of organizations that
Yes,
deal
you
with
are.
younger kids. Like very involved with Jalen Rose and his Jalen Rose Leadership Academy.
Now, don't you
And-
try to lead this fight here. I'm going to get to
you
that.
got-
Go
all right,
ahead.
or-
Go
but
ahead.
but even with Pastor Fikre Prince at Woodside Bible Church, who, I love him and do everything I can to help there. I mean, we have a responsibility. I have two boys, Trey, who's Dennis III, and Chase, remarkable, brilliant, way smarter than me, gentlemen. But I need to do more.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to make sure they're straight and they are straight. I mean, they've got two parents that love them and provide guidance. They got grandparents that love them, provide them guidance. But, we both
Yeah.
are not just responsible for our familial legacy, but, people like us that are in a position to do more for others, we got to stretch to do more. I mean, if you look at, our schools are failing our kids now. Detroit's 38% of the city is in poverty. 50% of Detroit kids are in poverty. And those kids are not getting the meals they should need. They're not getting the education they need to pull themselves up out of this environment. Yeah. And so it takes people like us to do more than just go to our jobs and our workplaces or our businesses. We got to, I encourage all of your viewers to figure out a way to get involved, to do a little more.
And you're not just talking about it. You mentioned Jalen Rose, and of course, he's a hero to the city as well. And his school, one of my closest friends who has also been on the podcast, Wendy Lewis, who was the principal over there.
Yeah, Wendy's phenomenal.
Yes, she is. Also been on the podcast.
She did great work for us.
Yes, she did. But I was able to go back maybe 14 years and seeing you in support of that. Maybe if you could speak to more of that relationship with Jalen and not just the work at the school, but again, just giving back.
Well, I mean, I've known Jinx since high school.
Yeah.
So when since he was at Southwestern, and so I was at Michigan when he was at Southwestern, and then when he came to Michigan, I was at Michigan in law school.
Okay.
So he's like a little brother.
Okay.
And so when he asked me to be on the board of his school, I didn't have to think about it. It was immediately, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the one board that I will always stay on. There's a lot where I feel like my role has matured out, and it's perhaps best to get fresh insights or thoughts, or I'm extraordinarily busy, so something's got to drop off the bottom because I can't do it all. But I will always be involved with Jalen in the school because he personally is very passionate. This is not a thing where he slapped his name on the school as an ego play. Right. He is up there during drop off in car lines. When parents are coming to pick up report cards, he's there. Yeah. He's at every board meeting unless he's on TV and it's a conflict. So, I love that work that I'm doing with him. And as you know, I mean, I'm also very passionate about the chamber. And
come on now, let me go ahead and get let me pay my respects.
The passion for the chamber is really twofold. One, because I'm just a booster of the city. Mm-hmm. But two, being involved and having chaired the board and chaired Mackinac, and being on the executive committee, and being one that's not shy about sharing what I think is right, it gives me the opportunity to bring the voices of others that may not be able to be participatory to the forefront.
Yes.
And because I've been involved so long, I'm very comfortable saying stuff that maybe other people won't, but things that need to be said. And those things are received by the leadership. And so that is another organization that as long as they'll have me, I will just continue to always be involved with the chamber.
Let me assure you, and most of my folks probably don't know this, but I am the director of our membership department at the Detroit Regional Chamber. Come January, I've been there 6 years.
And you've been doing great work for the chamber.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. But January of 2020 is when I started, and come March, we had to go home. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely correct. Your voice rings bells, and it trickles down. And I'm glad you've been able to do that, for sure.
Thank you.
But while we're here, I like to do a little, where I say one word and you tell me what it means to you, right?
Yeah, let's go.
And let's see how this goes, okay? Right.
I'm glad we only had one drink. But
that's right. Let's see. Let's just start off with something that could be easy. Detroit.
family, grit, perseverance, black AF.
That's right.
And yeah.
I want to stop then. You didn't already took me with something, because maybe I should have switched this here, but because you said black AF, I have to mention this. With doing my calls and preparing for this conversation, I spoke to someone and said, without a shadow of a doubt, he supports black businesses. Without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to do everything he can to see black businesses win. Why does that mean so much to you?
Well, number one, I've just been fortunate enough to have some modicum of success so far. And you hear people talking about a seat at the proverbial table.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough to be at those tables. And you've seen many renditions of the art piece where there's, one black arm reaching down to bring somebody else out. And you also continuously hear about crabs in the barrel.
That's right.
And, I obviously choose to be over here reaching down. And I've got a responsibility. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. My first responsibility is my two boys, period. But I also have a responsibility to do what I can to help others. And it doesn't really take a whole lot of effort to invite somebody to come to an event or suggest somebody to be on the board. And I just think it's very important, particularly in a city where, given our demographics and the percentage of the population we have, how we participate economically should be in proportion to the population. And in many instances, it is not.
Yeah.
And so it's incumbent upon those. It's not just me. I can name 10 people, 20 people who do all the same things that I try to do. But it's important work.
I don't know if you can guess who that one individual was who gave me that bit of information, because I believe there's probably about 100 folks who are probably saying the same thing.
I hope so.
Yeah, but I want to give credit to Don Holland, who gave me that bit of information, right? Another person who I called told me one thing about Dennis Archer Jr. is that he recognized talent, that he sees talent and doesn't have a problem taking a risk on new talent. Why is that important? And did you know that about yourself, or is that in your business every day?
I just think generally I have a good intuition about people.
Okay.
I had good intuition about you, and then I didn't know Dwayne as well, but I mean, it's grown to be you and him, and I think the work that we do together has worked well for everybody. And I just think that when you look at like the different startups that I've invested in, you hear people say, don't bet on the horse, don't bet on the jockey, bet on the horse, or don't bet on the horse, bet on the jockey. I have a gut about people, and I'm probably batting 900 probably.
Okay.
I mean, there are missteps.
Yeah.
And the missteps are typically not because the people are bad people, but it's just that the vision they had that they sold me on, they couldn't make it happen.
Right.
But I mean, you're allowed to fail. I had failures, learn from them. And so you just got to have grace. And if you can win more than you lose, you're doing well.
You're doing well. I don't know if you could guess who that individual was either, because I would assume that you, as you say, batting 900, that means you're taking chances on a lot of folks. But I have to give credit to my brother, one of my best friends since I was a young boy, and super producer Q as well, LaRon Harris.
Oh, now if I could have a brother, that is my brother.
Come on now.
That is my man. I'm so proud of him and the family he's created, and for his blood family, but also just the name he's made for himself in the industry from when we worked together at Radio 1. But that's my man.
That's right. And believe it or not, I would probably be wrong if I wouldn't salute my mother and Lamont, who supported and helped LaRon get in those spaces over at Radio 1. But and I got to put my own little tab here. I'm the one who hooked him up with his wife. So
I'm
all in there. Let me get all that in there, okay? But he continues to speak very highly about you, and the risk that you took on him, right? And some rooms that he would not have been in if it wasn't for you. And I feel like I would have been remiss if I didn't acknowledge that as you're speaking
I'm
to
glad
it,
you
man.
brought him up. That's
you
my
know
man.
what I mean? There you go. But going back to those one words, neighborhoods. And when I say neighborhoods, I'm talking about neighborhoods of Detroit. We are in a very intense mayoral race, and that is a hot topic. But as a Detroiter, I would love to hear your thoughts on where we are at in neighborhoods here in the city of Detroit and what's needed.
Well, to put it in context, so Detroit is 139 square miles, and Detroit's infrastructure was built up to accommodate. In 1950, at that census, we had 1.8 million people. By the time the 1960 census happened, we started to decline. There's a lot of people that believe that perhaps we hit 2 million sometime in there.
That's right.
But now we have 645,000 people. So we got 1/3 the people sitting on top of the same infrastructure. So the streets, the street lights, paving the streets, plowing the streets has to happen for 139 square miles. There's only 645,000 people. So what has happened is when redevelopment is happening, it's impossible for that to happen throughout the whole city at once. And so what you see is, obviously, in any city, there's a lot of critique from whoever's in charge that too much emphasis is put on downtown. When you go to any city in the world, development it doesn't happen from the suburbs in, it happens from the city out. And it happens from the city core downtown out. So obviously there's a lot of investment down here. What has happened is that because investors in downtown, particularly in residential and business, has been successful, it's starting to go out. And so you're getting Corktown, Southwest, the villages. I mean, you can go over now on, Kercheval or Mack, where almost all the way over to the Chrysler plant, and where it used to be run down in drugs and abandonment, now you see white families with strollers.
That's right.
And you and I know, and we can say it on this podcast.
Come on now.
That you already know. When you see that happening, it's turning.
It's turning.
What the next mayor is going to have to continue to do is to make sure that the development spreads into other areas. And I think that's going to happen. It's a slow process, but at the same time, we got to have population growth.
You got to have
population.
Because
somebody moving from this part of Detroit to that part of Detroit is not necessarily helping Detroit. We need people to move from outside the city into the city to live, put their kids in school, and work. And that's how the city grows.
And go to them grocery stores. Maybe get something, please. But you went right into my next word. Mayor.
Sheffield.
Just like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, as I think you know, and most people know, I contemplated running myself.
Come on.
Very, very seriously. And, decided several months ago that it wasn't the time for me to do this.
Yeah.
And Mary had been very vigilant, who I had been
supportive,
close with as a city council person and then president, but had been very vigilant about wanting my support and being open to suggestions. And so it started, I'm still considering running in our conversations. Then we would chat and it would be, I'm still considering running, but let me tell you what I would do if I were you.
Okay.
And then it went into, I'm not running, and I'm going to support you.
Okay.
And I think that she's going to do an amazing job if she's fortunate enough to win on November 4th. The polls would suggest that she's going to win.
Get out to vote now.
But
Tuesday, come on.
Yeah, my father always said, polls don't vote, people vote.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think Detroit has a very, very bright future ahead of it. And I think that if Mary the council president, is fortunate enough to be elected, She's going to have very, very, very hard road ahead. But I think between her leadership and the people that she brings in around her, that she's fit for the job.
It's going to be key, building a strong team that can support her and her vision. That is for sure. Yeah. But I must stop here as well. I did not know that was something that you had considered. And that's just maybe me building a stronger relationship with you where I can get those tidbits. My plan was to bring this up as long as I've been alive. Well, let me not say alive, or at least a young boy. My dream job is to be the mayor of the city of Detroit. There's no doubt in my mind, as young and growing and even going through college at Southern University, I didn't think about what it would be like to be the mayor of Detroit. Mm-hmm. But I knew that was because of the things that I saw growing up from Coleman Young.
Absolutely.
And Mayor Archer. I can't front on a Kwame Kilpatrick either, right?
No, that's my man.
Yeah. And that was going to be my question. Has that ever been? And you've answered it, but
I know very seriously considered it. I was being recruited to do it.
Absolutely.
And just with ironically, all the stuff that I've done, my involvement with philanthropy, being involved with the chamber, being on Flashpoint all the time on TV. I mean, if you looked at it from the outside, it would look like that I wrote the script to do all those things, to do this. It was the perfect script. At the end of the day, family's most important. Mm-hmm. And that's my youngest son is still in high school. I still am very much needed with my business enterprises. Mm-hmm. This is not the time. And, honestly, I hope that whoever wins, and again, I'm supporting Mary, and she's young enough, Mary could have a 20-year run and still not be 60.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that I can do everything I can to help her, that she'll do a great job, and I don't have to ever think about it again, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I hear you. It's truly inspiring to hear not just your humbleness about it, but your willingness to continue to support for the greater good of the city. Man.
That goes back to what I said earlier about the responsibility you and I have beyond our children to help as many people as we can.
So let's go to that, because you're right. It seems as if some of this was written as a script, right? And someone who has a law degree in the hospitality industry, businesses and particular ventures. But you're right, Detroit Regional Chamber. You're right, Michigan Chronicle, Pancakes and Politics, right? Jalen Rose Academy, as well as General Motors, Inclusion and Equity Advisory Board as well. How was it intentional to be?
We're gonna keep talking, but I'm gonna tell Vaughn.
What's that?
Can you turn the music up a little bit for these people?
Yeah, that's right.
The music, just a little bit.
Yeah,
good. Something.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys should know, again, we're at the Vinyl Society.
Yeah, we working, y'all.
Social Capital Thursdays. That's right. We are open for business. And if you
got his people over here without the music on.
If you didn't know, please come see us every day at Vinyl Society, but specifically on Thursdays, Social Capital Thursdays is a way to network and engage with some of the most influential leaders throughout the city of Detroit and beyond. And some of them are here tonight. So we definitely want to make sure they're comfortable. That's for sure. So good point, man.
My man.
Go ahead. We were talking about your involvement, and more importantly, why it's so important that you have this particular involvement. Michigan Chronicle, and you hosting particular things like Pancakes and Politics.
I just think, Pancakes and Politics, it's just important. Michigan Chronicle has a particular audience. Real Times Media, that owns the Chronicle, owns a number of the historical esteemed black newspaper outlets around the country. And they've had this brand for 20 years. Several years ago, they asked me to start hosting it. And, Hiram and I working in tandem, I've got relationships he doesn't have. He has, and Hiram I've known since high school. Since I was in fifth grade, he was in ninth grade. I just saw him when I was
walking down the street, man.
And so he, it's just been I'm very passionate about that series. We do it 4 times a year in person, and then we do Pancakes and Politics Overdrive, where we go to the studio across the street and do one-on-one interviews. So over there, we've had Mary Barra, the mayor, both senators over there. Because it's important to ask questions of these very important national and international players from a black perspective.
Yeah.
And so when I'm doing the interview, I'm interviewing for our audience, which is not just black, but it's a black newspaper outlet. So whether it's at Pancakes and Politics in March, April, May, and June on stage, or whether it's in the Overdrive sessions, I'm asking questions that I believe black people want answers to. And I'm asking about black Detroit topics and black national topics, many of which are relevant to everyone. But definitely with that perspective in mind, I draft my questions.
You've taken that a lot further too. Again, let's talk about Table for Four, right? With WDIV,
Yeah.
right? That was another, I would assume, idea from you into having those conversations with particular players across the state. Tell us about that.
Table of Four is a great culmination. It's interesting. You know, there's a show on Sunday called Flashpoint.
That's right.
That Devin Scillian helped found, and he was the anchor or the host of that show. It comes on right before Meet the Press. It's the Detroit version of Meet the Press. You know, when Devin announced his retirement, I called Bob Ellis, the general manager of Channel 4. I was like, I want that slot.
Yeah.
And he said, Bob's response was, one, I haven't even thought about who's doing Flashpoint because I got to figure out who's taking Devin's spot on the 5, 6, and 11 o'clock news. And two, that's interesting. Let me get back to you. So he got back with me, and Bob said, you know, Dennis, historically that's been a news anchor who's had that slot. I'm going to go with that, but give me a month or so, I'm going to call you back with an idea. Call me back almost a month to the date and said, I want to give you your own show.
Hey,
so
let's talk.
He told me the concept. I came up with the name. So Table for Four is me sitting down with interesting people, having interesting conversations at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And for those of folks that know me well, I entertain 20 or 30 people for dinner at my house 8 or 10 times a year. I'd have to have you come
Please,
to one of them.
I would love it, yeah.
And it's always great conversation. And then obviously I just enjoy hospitality.
Yeah.
And so it fuses my desire to moderate and interview and have conversations with my love of entertaining and hospitality. So it's really a show perfect for me.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off doing 6 or 7 a year in prime time. So look for it.
I will.
Table for Four.
Yeah. It seemed like a great concept. And again, I saw some of the clips and it's truly inspiring to see that you don't mind asking the tough questions. And it's the right person in the right spot for that.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, part of it is, and Hiram says this all the time in Pancakes and Politics about the stuff that I bring up. I mean, there's a certain, being in business, you brought up 30 plus years, makes me feel old.
That's all right.
Being involved in the community, I built up a trust with a lot of these people. So they say yes to being interviewed by me because they know I'm not ambushing, I'm not going to embarrass them. And they know even if I ask them a tough question, it's coming from a good place.
Yeah. Which brings me to Candy Bar.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever came to that? That was fire. Candy Bar was fire. I had Candy Bar and Exclusivity, both at the same place. One was Sunday, one was Friday.
Okay. I feel like that was the transition of law school going right into the hospitality industry.
Yeah, I
and
mean, I don't know when you
parties
started with all this, but like,
Yeah.
I still have my first flyer from my first party where I made my own flyer senior year in high school. I have a box at home with every flyer from before digital media and posting on Instagram. You know, people used to make flyers, and
Yeah.
I used to get them printed and shipped overnight from LA.
Yeah.
I got every flyer from every party from high school till my last party during the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And Candy Bar was brilliant because there was a club, which is now, John Barbados used to be there, but Wright & Company's upstairs. That whole building was a club. It opened as Pure, then they changed the name to XS. But every Friday night, I changed the name of the joint to Candy Bar.
Okay.
I put a sign over their sign, so when you
Yeah.
pulled up, it said Candy Bar.
Yeah.
The matchbooks, the T-shirts the girls wore were all Candy Bar. You thought you were in Candy Bar.
Yeah.
I had a girl, a voice, who was Candy. who voiced my commercials, and it was a great hustle because I was doing Candy Bar, making dough while I was at Radio 1 as a station manager, and then I would come in, I would buy, so I was one of the top advertisers in my own business because I would buy radio every week for my party.
Right.
So I come back with the bag, take some of the bag from Friday and go in Monday and place my order for the next Friday.
Yeah.
And Candy, who was a good friend of mine, Timothy, she had a very sexy voice. You know, she'd be like, hey, this is Candy. We'll see you Friday. It was fire. But it was brilliant because I took an existing club and people, after a while, just started calling it Candy Bars.
Right.
And then I sold the concept to somebody, which was even better.
Right.
You know, I was like, all right, I need to get out of this.
Right.
You know, and so I sold it to somebody. So it was fantastic.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm looking at you, but you almost went back to that space just here thinking about all
Oh
that.
man, it was a good time.
That was a
lot
good
of good
time.
times were had.
There you go. I love to hear that. And now, because that wasn't the first one, was it? That wasn't the first spot. And to your point, my first party, you know, of course, growing up in my house, the basements, but my high school senior party, which Super Producer Q was there.
Oh, Q,
was at
y'all
the
go back, huh,
Oh,
Q?
yeah. The
All right.
YMCA right there on Jefferson that's
All right,
closed
yeah.
now.
Oh, I rocked there.
We had
I
people
rocked it in there.
climbing into the windows try to get into that
I love
party,
it.
man. But that wasn't the first of the parties, right?
Oh no, I was in high school, man.
Yeah.
High school, and then up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
When I was in law school and undergrad, I did all the big parties. Like
Yeah.
I literally would cut pictures out of a magazine, tape it to a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, go to the computer lab, type out the words, tape it to the paper, take it to Evan at Colossus Printing, run thousands of flyers, and then fold them, put them in envelopes because I thought that was classier.
Yeah.
Put them in my backpack, and I moved around. I was pushing invitations, walk around campus, boom, boom, renting out all the clubs, the ballrooms. It was phenomenal.
And today we're talking about Central Kitchen. And
Yeah,
we're talking
and so-
about Vinyl Society.
And so that is just the maturation
That's right.
of hustling invites and taking money at the door to, and even the transition to owning my own places went from pay parties to invitation only parties paid for by sponsors who wanted to get to my crowd to ultimately me having my own places where I can create beautiful spaces where everybody is welcome to work, perform, host, cocktail, eat. It's been wonderful.
So I gotta ask, what's next?
It's a good question, man. I think that ask me that question next summer.
Next summer.
I'm interested. I've always wanted to do a hotel. I mean, one of the things that I've learned from this business is, you got to partner and be involved with people that know the business. So, like for instance, Vaughn here is my manager is a third generation operator. Doug, who's the assistant manager and is behind the bar, has done this for 40 years, 35 years.
Great guys, both of them too.
And so I would love to do a smaller, less than 100-room hotel, but I would want to do it with a proven hotel operator where I could bring the ideas, the promotion, the styling of it, and they manage the operation of it because that's what they do well.
Because that's what they do well.
Yeah.
Again, identifying the talent and letting it
Exactly.
grow, right?
Right.
You've been doing this for a long time. You're talking about Candy Bar. I've heard Sauce Bar. The parties from high school, college, right? Giving back to the community. A father, family man, brother, right? Son to very prominent parents, and really just looking back. Do you ever take a moment to just sit back and say, man, I've done this? And how does that feel? Like, what is it like to really look back at all the things?
You ever see the T-shirt that says "You can sleep when you die"?
Yes.
I mean, so not really. I mean, look, from time to time, somebody will give me an award or something. They'll read a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll be like, oh. I mean, I guess it sounds impressive, but I'm like, there's so much work to do.
Yeah.
For me to better myself and improve myself, for me to guide my kids along, more work for me to do entrepreneurially in the city. So, success is relevant.
It
It's
is.
like,
It's very
one thing I
subjective.
remember learning, going to Vegas and being like, you can't keep up. I mean, there's always somebody with more. There's always somebody with more success. There's always more to do.
That's right.
And so, for me, what success looks like for me is not measured by my bank account. It's first measured by my kids and my familial and close friendships, and then like how I can better the community. I mean, and so if I get hit by a bus walking out of here, I'm hoping that there's people that will line up to say, hey, this dude rocked it out for me and didn't even know me. He stood up for certain things in the community, because that's really what legacy is about.
I want to say thank you, man.
This has been fabulous, man.
Thank you for.
I hope you have me back, man.
Man, why wouldn't I, man?
This is great.
Because like you said, you're not done. So I'm sure there's more to talk about, more things that you're going to be involved in. And I love that you don't have a hesitation with giving more of yourself to the things that you've come from. Again, this is what this podcast was created to talk about, was those that were from here who don't mind giving back to it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, man.
But thank you, man. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for the work that you do. And
you come
please
to
let us
Mackinac?
know. Say again?
You come to Mackinac?
Why wouldn't I be at
All right,
Mackinac?
I'm just making sure, man.
Come on now.
Make sure they got you on the list.
Well, that's right. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for always tuning in to the Oh Yeah podcast. As always, check out Candidly Speaking greeting cards. Check out Grander Crew. Please come check out Vinyl Society.
Thursday
and
night,
Central
6 o'clock.
Kitchen. There you go. Tonight we're getting ready for, of course, the good band. They always rock out, and it's always a good space. I always say to you, don't forget to document your affairs and continue to check in at the Oh Yeah podcast with your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah, Detroit's #1 ambassador.
Number one, maybe number 2.
We in competition now, my guy. Salute. Thank you.
My man.
I
Fire,
appreciate
baby.
your
That was
time.
fun, baby.
Oh yeah, holla at your boy. Document your affairs, baby.